Welcome to Revenge Sanity, where real-life stories expose betrayal, pain, and unexpected twists. I'm standing in the future global boardroom, staring at a termination letter with my name on it. 24 hours ago, I wired $150 million into this company, my family's company. Now my father, Frank Best, sits at the head of the table, hands folded, looking at me like I'm a stranger. "You've done your part, Austin," he says calmly. "Leave your badge." My heart hammers against my ribs. The executives around the table won't meet my eyes. I glance down at the letter again, trying to process the words. Chief Strategy Officer position terminated. Effective immediately. My throat tightens. "Dad, what is this?" I manage to say. He doesn't flinch. Exactly what it looks like. I notice something odd. The date on the letter. It's from 2 days ago, printed before the money transfer went through. My stomach drops. This was planned. They knew they'd fire me even before I saved them. I look around the room, searching for someone, anyone, to show a hint of surprise or sympathy. Nothing. Just silence and averted gazes. The security guard steps forward, hand hovering near my elbow. "Sir, please come with me." The walk to the elevator feels like a death march. Security flanks me on both sides, as if I'm some criminal being escorted out. Executives peek in their offices, then quickly duck back inside. My phone buzzes repeatedly in my pocket, probably congratulatory messages about the funding round that just closed. I catch my reflection in the glass doors. I look tired, defeated. Behind me, the Future Global logo gleams on the marble wall. The company I helped build from near bankruptcy. My badge dangles from my fingers, and I hand it to guard without being asked. The elevator doors open. As I step inside, I pull out my phone. 17 messages, all celebrating the successful investment. "Congratulations on saving Future Global," one reads. Another says, "Your dedication paid off." The irony burns. A banking alert pops up on my screen. Wire transfer confirmed. $150,000,000. Irreversible. Non-refundable. My life savings, my trust fund, every dollar I could access. Gone. Locked into a company that just threw me away like trash. The elevator descends, and with each floor, reality sinks deeper. The board knew. They all knew I'd be fired today. This wasn't a sudden decision. It was choreographed. I don't go home. Instead, I turn around and march straight back upstairs to my father's private office. His assistant tries to stop me, but I push past her. Dad's on a phone call when I burst through his door. He looks up, annoyed, then ends a call. "Austin, you're trespassing." "You owe me an explanation," I say, my voice shaken with anger. He leans back in his leather chair, completely unbothered. "I told you in the boardroom. Your service is no longer needed. I just gave you everything. $150 million. And the company is stable now," he replies coldly. "We're finally in a good position. I don't need a safety net anymore." He pauses, and his next words cut deeper than any blade. "And I don't need a son who constantly questions my decisions." My hands ball into fists. "You used me." "I utilized available resources," he corrects. "You chose to invest. Nobody forced you." I stare at him, searching for any trace of the father I once knew. There's nothing, just cold calculation. My eyes drift to the door, and I notice something new, a nameplate that wasn't there yesterday. Marcus Hale, Chief Strategy Officer. "You already replaced me," I whisper. Marcus Hale. I'd never heard that name until today. I pull up his profile on my phone as I sit in my car in the parking garage. No work history at Future Global. No obvious industry connections. Just a polished LinkedIn page showing consulting work for anonymous holding firms. I drive to a coffee shop and dig deeper. Marcus has ties to Vertex Holdings, a firm my father quietly launched 3 years ago. A firm I wasn't told about. The connections start forming a web I don't like. My phone rings. It's James, one of the junior executives. "Austin, I'm sorry, man. I had no idea they'd do this." "Did you meet Marcus?" I ask. "Yeah, this morning. He already has your office. James hesitates. He thanked you, said you built an incredible roadmap he's excited to execute. My jaw clenches. He said that, word for word. Look, there's something else. People are talking about some clause that got removed from your investment agreement. I don't know details, but legal was acting weird about it yesterday. I thank James and hang up. A clause removed? I drafted that agreement myself with our attorneys. Every protection, every safeguard. I made sure I'd maintain authority even after the investment. I rush home and pull out my copies. I spread the documents across my dining table. The original draft I signed is on the left. The executed version the company returned is on the right. I read through them line by line, and my blood runs cold. Clause 7C is missing. The provision that guaranteed my position and decision-making authority for 5 years post-investment. Gone. Completely removed. In its place is generic language about management discretion. This isn't possible. I read this agreement 3 times before signing. I know what was in it. I checked the document properties on my laptop. The metadata shows the final version was edited yesterday at 3:47 p.m. after I signed, after the money transferred. Someone went into the digital file and altered it. The editor's name appears at the bottom of the property's window. L. Brooks. Lena Brooks. My assistant, the woman who's worked with me for 6 years, who I trusted with everything. She edited the document after execution. My hands tremble as I stare at her name on the screen. I call her immediately. It rings 4 times before she answers, her voice small. Austin, I'm so sorry. You changed the agreement. Silence. Then quietly, I had to. Lena agrees to meet me at a park near her apartment. When she arrives, her eyes are red and swollen. She sits on the bench beside me, hands twisted in her lap. Why? I ask simply. She takes a shaky breath. Your father came to me 3 weeks ago. He knew about my brother's medical debts. Over $400,000. He knew my parents took out a second mortgage to cover it. Tears streamed down her face. He said if I didn't help him, he'd make sure my family lost everything. He has connections at their bank. My stomach twists. So you helped him destroy my contract. He told me it was just a technicality, that you'd agreed to it verbally, she sobs. I knew it was wrong, but Austin, my family, how long has he been planning this? She looks at me, and the answer in her eyes makes my breath catch. Years. He's been documenting everything, building files, waiting for the right moment. He said you were too idealistic, too soft. That future global needed someone ruthless. She wipes her eyes. He's done this before. Austin. Other executives. People who saved the company during hard times. He pushed them all out once they were no longer useful. Who? Your Uncle Daniel. 5 years ago. Serachin before that. Anyone loyal to the company over him. I spend the next week digging through old records. Daniel Best, my father's younger brother, served as CFO during our 2019 crisis. He restructured our debt, negotiated with creditors, saved us from bankruptcy. 6 months later, he was gone. The official story was mutual separation. I call Uncle Daniel. He answers on the 3rd ring. Austin, I heard what happened. I'm sorry. He did the same thing to you, didn't he? A long pause. Frank is a pattern. He waits until you bled yourself dry for the company, then cuts you loose. He can't handle sharing credit or power. Daniel's voice hardens. He framed me for ethical violations that never happened. I had to sign an NDA just to leave with my reputation intact. Sarah Chun, same story. She brought in the clients that kept us afloat in 2017. Worked herself sick. Once the revenue stabilized, Frank manufactured a performance issue and forced her out. I leaned back in my chair, seeing the pattern clearly now. This was never personal. It was structural. My father systematically eliminates anyone who might challenge him or claim credit for success. Family, loyalty, sacrifice, none of it matters. He's a sociopath, Daniel says quietly, and you just funded his empire. I hire Marcus Webb, a forensic accountant I knew from college. He's expensive, but he's thorough. 3 days later, he calls me to his office with a grim expression. Your $150 million didn't go where you think it did. Marcus says, sliding a spreadsheet across his desk. I scan the numbers. What am I looking at? Future Global used your investment to immediately refinance your father's personal debts. He had loans tied to offshore accounts, private equity deals gone bad, over $90 million in liabilities. Marcus points to a column. Your money cleared his name, stabilized his credit, and bought him breathing room with some very dangerous creditors. But the company's growth announcement, smoke and mirrors. Revenue is flat. Your father's announcement bought him time and investor confidence, but the fundamentals haven't changed. Marcus pulls up another document. Without your operational systems, the ones you personally built, Future Global will miss projections within 6 months. Your father gambled everything on looking successful long enough to attract a buyer or merger. So the company's not actually stable. Not even close. Collapse is inevitable without the infrastructure you created. Your father just doesn't realize it yet. I sit back processing. He stole my money to save himself, not the company. I try to move forward. Several companies reach out about executive positions. I'm in talk with a tech startup when my lawyer calls, voice tight with concern. Austin, we have a problem. Your father filed a non-compete agreement overnight. It's extensive. I never signed a non-compete. According to the filing, it was embedded in your severance package. I didn't accept the severance package. My lawyer sighs. The document claims you did. And Austin, this isn't a standard non-compete. It blocks you from working in any executive capacity, in any industry where Future Global has current or potential interests globally for 3 years. I can't breathe. That's not enforceable. Normally, no. But given your level of access to proprietary information and your role in strategic planning, a judge might uphold significant portions. At minimum, it'll tie you up in litigation for months. He pauses. He's essentially blacklisting you from the business world. I end the call and sit in silence. My father isn't just protecting the company. He's destroying my future. Then, slowly, a smile crosses my face. Because I remember something important. I helped write Future Global's original non-compete template. And I know exactly where the loopholes are. The non-compete has one critical flaw. It prohibits direct employment and competitive consulting, but it says nothing about advisory roles to private trusts or family offices. My father's lawyers copied the old template without updating it. I quietly register myself as an independent advisor to high-net-worth individuals. No company, no competitive services, just private counsel, completely legal. Within days, I'm contacted by Richard Yates, one of Future Global's largest silent investors. His family trust holds 12% of company shares. We meet at his estate. Your father says you left due to philosophical differences. Richard says, study me over coffee. That's one version. I reply carefully. I've known Frank for 20 years. I also know you're the one who fixed our logistics disaster in 2021 and built the client retention program that saved our contracts. Richard leans forward. So I'm asking you directly, as my advisor, is Future Global stable? I choose my words carefully. Review the Q2 operational metrics versus Q1. Compare actual revenue to projected growth. Then ask your questions again. Richard's eyes narrow. He pulls out his phone and emails someone. I'm calling for an emergency board review. That's your decision, not mine. Of course, he says. But we both know what I've just set in motion. The emergency board meeting is scheduled for Monday. By Friday, 3 other major investors have contacted me for private advisory sessions. I don't badmouth my father or the company. I simply provide data points and let them draw conclusions. One by one, they realize the same thing. Austin Best was the architect behind profitability, not Frank. The systems, the client relationships, the operational efficiency, it all traces back to me. Without me, the house of cards wobbles. Sunday night, I get a text from an unknown number. Board meeting moved to tomorrow at 6 a.m. Someone's panicking. James, my old colleague, is keeping me informed. I don't sleep that night. Monday morning, my phone explodes with notifications. Future global stock dips 8% at opening bell. Financial analysts publish think pieces questioning leadership stability following my abrupt departure. One headline reads, "Who really runs Future Global?" My father calls me for the first time since the firing. I let it go to voicemail. He calls again. And again. The fourth time, I answer. "What did you tell them?" he demands. "The truth. Numbers don't lie, Dad. You're destroying everything." "No," I say calmly. "I'm just not protecting you anymore." I hang up. My father holds a press conference that afternoon. He's polished, confident, standing behind a Future Global podium like always. Austin Best and I had ethical differences regarding the company's future direction, he announces. While I respect his contributions, Future Global must prioritize sustainable growth over individual ambitions. It's a masterful spin, making me look selfish and reckless. The business press eats it up initially, but I've been preparing for this. That evening, I release a simple statement through my lawyer. No accusations, no emotional appeals, just time-stamped internal memos, project files showing my authorship, and strategic plans with my digital signature. I don't say my father is lying. I just let the document speak. The memos show I propose initiatives he's now claiming as his vision. The timelines prove I was building systems while he was focused on optics. It's all factual, dated, verifiable. By midnight, the narrative shifts. Reporters start asking harder questions. If Austin was ethically problematic, why did Frank accept his $150 million? Why was his termination dated before the investment cleared? My phone buzzes with a text from James. "Media smells blood. Your dad's PR team is in chaos." I don't reply. I just watch the news coverage and wait. At 11 p.m., my father calls. This time, it's not anger in his voice. It's something I've never heard before. Fear. "We need to talk," he says quietly. "I'm listening." "Not over the phone. Meet me tomorrow. Just us." Why would I do that? There's a long silence. Then, barely audible, "I need your help." The words hang in the air. The man who fired me, who stole my money, who tried to destroy my career. Now he needs me. Part of me wants to gloat, but mostly I just feel tired. "Dad, you made your choice." "Austin, please." I hang up. My hands are shaking. I thought hearing him beg would feel satisfying, but it doesn't. It just feels sad. He calls back immediately. I silence my phone and set it face down on the table. For the first time in my life, I don't answer when my father calls. Outside my window, the city glows with 1,000 lights. Somewhere out there, Frank Best is realizing that power built on betrayal crumbles fast. I pour myself a drink and toast the silence. Tuesday morning, Future Global stock drops another 6%. Financial analysts publish reports questioning leadership succession planning and operational stability. The media narrative has fully shifted. I'm no longer the problem. I'm the solution that was wrongly discarded. At 10 a.m., James texts me, "Marcus Hale just resigned. Effective immediately." He walked out without explanation. I'm not surprised. Marcus was a placeholder, someone to make my replacement look planned. But he lacks the expertise to actually do the job, and now the pressure's too intense. Without me, the cracks in Future Global's foundation are showing. By afternoon, another headline hits. Future Global faces investor confidence crisis. The article details how 3 major clients are reviewing their partnerships following my departure. My relationships with those clients were personal, built over years. They trusted me, not the company. My father needs a scapegoat, and Marcus just became it. The official statement blames unforeseen strategic misalignment for Marcus's departure. It's the same corporate speak they use for me. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. At 5 p.m., my lawyer forwarded me an email from Future Global's board. They want to meet, urgently, without Frank present. The board meets me at a neutral location, a private conference room at a downtown law firm. 5 members sit across from me, looking grim. Richard Yates speaks first. Austin, we reviewed the operational data you suggested we examine. The projections don't match reality. Without your systems and client relationships, we're facing serious problems. Another board member, Margaret Chun, leans forward. We want to offer you reinstatement. Chief Operating Officer, full authority, equity stake. Your father would remain CEO in title only. You'd have operational control. I let the silence stretch. They're desperate, and they know it. What about Frank? I ask. He's opposed, but he doesn't have majority support anymore. We can overrule him. I consider it. Everything I built, handed back to me. My father humiliated, reduced to a figurehead. It's tempting. But then I remember the termination letter dated before my investment cleared. The years of planning to push me out. The systematic destruction of everyone who helped him. No, I say simply. They look shocked. Austin, this is everything you worked for. It's everything I already gave. I'm not interested in going backward. Then what do you want? Richard asks carefully. I stand up. I want to build something better. Something that doesn't require betraying people who trust you. I walk out, leaving them sitting in stunned silence. I establish North Shore Advisory within a week. It's structured as a private consulting firm specializing in strategic operations and client relationship management. Services, not competitive business operations. The non-compete can't touch it. I don't advertise. I don't need to. Within days, 3 of Future Global's top clients quietly reach out. They phrase it carefully. They're not leaving Future Global, just seeking supplementary strategic guidance. But we all know what's really happening. By the end of month 1, I've signed advisory agreements with 5 major accounts. These companies trust me personally, and they're uncomfortable with Future Global's instability. I provide the strategic planning and relationship management they relied on me for, just through a different channel. The revenue doesn't flow through Future Global anymore. It flows around them. Month 2, 2 more clients migrate. I'm not stealing them. I'm simply being available when they call. Future Global service quality has declined without the operational systems I built. Clients notice. From my small office downtown, I watch Future Global's quarterly revenue reports. The numbers drop steadily. Not a crash, just a slow bleed. My phone rings. It's Richard Yates. Austin. Frank's asking the board for emergency funding. He's desperate. I don't feel victorious. I just feel tired. Future Global misses its Q3 earnings projection by 18%. The stock plummets 23% in a single day. Creditors who were previously patient start making calls. Banks that extended credit based on my $150 million investment now question the company's stability. James sends me internal emails he probably shouldn't. Employees are panicking. 2 senior VPs have resigned. The office environment is toxic, with people blaming each other for the collapse. And then I learned something that makes my blood run cold. The banks and creditors are calling me. They want my assessment of Future Global's viability, because they figured out that I understand the company's operations better than anyone currently running it. I take those calls. I'm professional, factual. I don't trash my father, but I don't protect him either. When asked if Future Global can recover without significant operational overhaul, I answer honestly, not with current leadership. Those words seal Future Global's fate. Within a week, 2 creditors demand immediate debt restructuring. A major client publicly announces they're moving to a competitor. The board holds an emergency session. My father's personal assets are on the line. He personally guaranteed several of those loans my $150 million paid off. If Future Global collapses, he loses everything, his houses, his cars, his reputation, everything he betrayed me to protect. My father calls from an unknown number. When I answer, his voice is hollow. I need to meet with you. No lawyers, no board, just us. We meet at a diner far from downtown, somewhere nobody will recognize us. He looks terrible, gray, exhausted, aged 10 years and 3 months. He orders coffee but doesn't drink it. I'm losing everything, he says quietly. I know. The board wants me gone. Creditors are circling. Everything I built, his voice cracks. For the first time in my life, I see my father afraid. Not angry, not calculating, just terrified. Why did you do it? I ask. Why fire me after I gave you everything? He stares at his coffee. Because I couldn't stand owing you. I couldn't stand that you saved me, that you were better at this than I was. He looks up, eyes wet. I thought if I remove you quickly enough, I could claim the success is mine. I thought I could run it without you. You were wrong. I know. He takes a shaky breath. Austin, I'm asking you by the company. Take it over. I'll step aside. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't let it die. My throat tightens. This is what I wanted. Him broken, admitting defeat. But sitting across from my father, watching him fall apart, I don't feel victorious. I feel empty. I don't answer him right away. Instead, I take 3 days to think. I consult with my lawyer, with Richard, with Marcus Webb, the accountant. We run the numbers. Future Global can be saved, but it requires total restructuring and significant capital infusion. On the 3rd day, I call my father. I'll do it, but under my conditions. Anything. You resign completely. No advisory role, no board seat, nothing. You exit publicly and you tell the truth, that you made a mistake, that the company needs new leadership. I pause. And you acknowledge what you did to me. Publicly. Silence on the line. Dad, those are the terms. Take them or watch everything collapse. More silence. Then quietly. Okay. We meet with lawyers the next day. The agreement is brutal but fair. I'll acquire controlling interest in Future Global through a structured buyout. My father retains nothing. He'll make a public statement, resign, and walk away. He signs without reading the fine print. His hands shake as he writes his signature. The same hands that sign my termination letter. When it's done, he looks at me. Do you hate me? I consider the question honestly. No, but I don't trust you, and I don't think I ever will. He nods slowly, accepting that truth. The announcement goes out on a Monday morning. Frank Best stands at the podium one last time, reading from a prepared statement. After considerable reflection, I've decided to step down as CEO of Future Global. The company requires fresh vision and leadership that I can no longer provide. He pauses, and for a moment, I think he might deviate from the script. But he continues, I'm grateful for the opportunity to have led this organization, and I'm confident in its future under new management. He never mentions a betrayal. He never apologizes. Even in defeat, he can't bring himself to fully admit what he did. I watch from my office via live stream. James texts me. He looks broken. 2 hours later, I release my own statement. It's brief, factual, and free of malice. I'm honored to assume leadership of Future Global. My focus will be on operational excellence, ethical business practices, and rebuilding trust with our clients and employees. The company's recent challenges stem from leadership instability and strategic missteps. We'll address both immediately. Then I add one line that everyone understands. Future Global was built by many hands over many years. Its future success will come from respecting that contribution. Within hours, the media narrative crystallizes. Frank fell because of pride and betrayal. Austin succeeded because of integrity and competence. Stock prices stabilized that afternoon. I don't gloat. I don't give vengeful interviews or write tell-all articles. Instead, I release a simple timeline to my attorney. Date of my investment, dates of termination, documents showing the altered contract, witness statements from Lena about the coercion. No editorializing. No emotional appeals. Just facts, organized chronologically. The truth speaks for itself. Public sympathy shifts decisively. Business journals praise my dignified response to unconscionable treatment. Industry leaders reach out with support. Former colleagues send messages. We knew you were the backbone all along. Some people expect me to be angry, to want revenge. But I'm not interested in destroying my father. He did that to himself. I'm interested in building something sustainable. Future Global's value stabilizes over the next month. Clients who left start returning. Employees who resigned ask if they can come back. The company isn't just surviving. It's beginning to thrive again. not because of magic or luck. Because systems built on integrity are simply stronger than those built on betrayal. I reinstate several executives my father pushed out over the years. I call Uncle Daniel, Sarah Chun, others. I can't undo what happened to them, but I can offer them justice now. They all accept. The acquisition closes in January. Through a carefully structured trust, I gain full ownership of Future Global. My father retains no shares, no options, no claim to the company he founded. On paper, he walks away with enough money to live comfortably. I'm not cruel, but the empire he spent decades building, the legacy he obsessed over, now belongs to someone else. To me, I keep the Future Global name. Some people question this, but I have my reasons. The company isn't defined by one person's mistakes. It's defined by the hundreds of employees who work there, the clients who trust it, the history of innovation that predates my father's worst decisions. I change a mission statement, building success through ethical excellence and mutual respect. My father attends the official handover meeting. He's required to buy the acquisition terms. He sits in the back of the boardroom, silent, while I outline the new strategic direction. His face is blank, unreadable. When the meeting ends, he stands to leave. For a moment, we make eye contact across the room. There's no anger in his expression, no resentment, just resignation. He nods once, and I nod back. Then he walks out of Future Global for the last time. 3 weeks later, my father calls. Not about business, just to talk. He asks about my life, how I'm settling into the CEO role, if I'm eating properly. Small talk, the kind fathers and sons have. I answer politely but keep the conversation short. When he asks if we can have dinner sometime, I hesitate. Dad, I don't hate you. I've forgiven what you did. Then why? But forgiveness doesn't mean proximity. You taught me that people show you who they are through their actions. You showed me who you are. I take a breath. I hope you find peace. I really do. But I can't have you in my life. There's a long silence on the line. Finally, he says, I understand. Take care of yourself, Dad. You too, son. I hang up. There are no tears, no dramatic emotions. Just a quiet sense of resolution. Some relationships can't be salvaged, and that's okay. Setting boundaries isn't cruelty. It's wisdom. Outside my window, snow begins to fall over the city. Inside, my phone buzzes with work notifications. There's always another crisis to manage, another decision to make. I get back to work. Under my leadership, Future Global transforms. I implement transparent reporting structures, ethical oversight committees, and employee profit-sharing programs. The company my father ran through intimidation now runs on collaboration. Revenue grows steadily. We land 3 major contracts in Q2, expand into 2 new markets, and receive industry recognition for workplace culture. But the change I'm most proud of is quieter. I personally tracked down every executive my father forced out over the years. I can't give them back the years they lost, but I can make it right financially. Uncle Daniel receives a settlement for wrongful termination. Sarah Chung gets paid consultant fees for the clients she brought in with interest. Others receive similar compensation, each amount calculated to reflect their actual contributions. Word spreads about this quietly. I don't publicize it. These are private matters. But employees notice. Trust begins to rebuild. One morning, I find an anonymous note on my desk. Thank you for showing us that success doesn't require cruelty. You gave us hope. I keep that note in my desk drawer. On hard days, I take it out and remember why I fought so hard to reclaim this company. Not for revenge, for redemption. 5 years later, I'm sitting in the same boardroom where my father fired me. The room looks different now, warmer, more welcoming. Photos of employee achievements line the walls instead of awards for financial performance. Future Global is thriving. We're profitable, ethical, and recognized as an industry leader. The company that almost collapsed under my father's leadership now sets the standard for operational excellence. Sometimes, late at night, I think about that termination letter, about the moment I realized my father had betrayed me. I won't lie, it still hurts. That wound probably never fully heals. But I've learned something important. Losing my job cost me a father, but it gave me myself. It forced me to prove my worth outside his shadow, to build something that reflected my values instead of his ego. Power taken through betrayal never lasts. It corrodes from within, destroying everything it touches. But power rebuilt with clarity, with integrity, with respect, that endures. My phone buzzes with a message from Uncle Daniel. "Proud of you, nephew." I smile and set the phone down. Outside, the sun sets over the city, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange. Somewhere out there, my father lives his quiet retirement. I hope he's found peace. I genuinely do. But that's his journey, not mine. I have a company to run, employees depending on me, clients trusting me. I have a legacy to build, one that won't crumble the moment I step away, because it's built on solid ground. The termination letter sits framed on my wall now, not as a trophy, but as a reminder that the worst moments of our lives can become the foundation of our greatest achievements, if we have the courage to rebuild.